What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Blackest Man podcast. You know what it is. Your host, the Blackest Man. No wife for me today, though she is watching my daughter, which which is good. I appreciate her watching my daughter. Tried to record yesterday, didn't work out. You guys know the story. You know, family, kids, wife, work, church. You know, something got to take a hit, which is usually this. Sometimes I do play video games because it just helps me relax. It helps me take my mind off of things that are just stressing me out or helps me unwind. Sometimes I can be so deep in thought that it can just be mentally exhausting. And a lot of times, video games just help me w- ease into the day, or it helps me to, uh, it helps me to, what's the word? Video games help me unwind. They don't really help me forget. They just help me relax. I thank God for them. They're good when they're used properly. Because, you can use video games as a crutch or you become addicted, or it could be time for idleness. But I believe God has given us rest. And a lot of times I use video games to help me rest. When I'm not necessarily resting in the Word by reading the Word, God does give us good gifts, though, to help us enjoy some of the God given creations, some of the creations that God has given us through the hand of man. And one is video games, particularly the game Forza. I eventually, Forza is a racing game, and I eventually want to make a YouTube channel about it, a video game channel. And I think you can use video games for good purposes. I know some people are adamantly opposed to them, and I understand that because there are some bad video games that you shouldn't play. But I think there's some good ones too. And if they're done properly, they can be used to the glory of God to encourage things, to foster good relationships, and to foster good character if they're done right. If you tell a good story with a video game, it's interactive. You can get real involved in it, like the game God of War. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and man, I love that game. Specifically, the new one. That's the one I like the most. Uh, but that's another story for another day. Uh, so, but yeah, man, video games is good. But anyways, I can't play video games all the time. I got work to do. I got things I gotta get done, and running my mouth is obviously one of the things I like to do. One of my passions. Uh, and it's been a busy week. I know the last episode you guys heard, that was episode with my wife. And we were talking about the slap heard across the world by the coward Will Smith. But I think that was a good episode. I think that was that episode 7 or 8? So this is episode 9, and I'm trying to get back on track. I've been super busy the past couple of months. I looked before that, the episode labeled ball headed. Before that episode, I had my wife and I, we were trying to sell a house. So we've had to get the house painted. So that means we got to move everything to the center of the house, and we got too much junk. We got to throw stuff away. We're still in the process of decluttering and throwing stuff away. And then we also had to get new carpet put down. Then we had to get extra work done in the house. We had some uh, one of my guys come in and do plumbing activity for the crib. And it's been it's been busy. It's been an eventful time, very eventful. And man, I appreciate what God has been doing and how God has been working. And we've been mad exhausted. Not to mention doing all that stuff, trying to get the house ready to sell. On top of that, I've been working 60, 70, 80 hour weeks, mandatory overtime, 6 days a week. And then on top of that, I've been having to do stuff in my church. I've been having to preach. I preached 3 Sundays over the past 6 weeks. 2 Sundays back to back. And man, I had to spend a lot of time studying and praying and digging into the scriptures. So this podcast kind of got kind of put on hold for the time being. I had a goal. I want to release one episode a week, and I have some goals that I want to get 100 subscribers this year. And I do the math that I reach. If I get 100 subscribers, and if I can get 5,000 downloads, because I think that'd be about would that be about it? Or five would it be 500 downloads? 50 weeks in 5,500, something around there. That'd be a nice little milestone. But let me first just get with 100 subscribers and get me. I'm hoping 1,000 downloads this year. My last episode before the Ballhead episode, it said I had 12 downloads. I got a total of 88 downloads out of all my episodes. So that's a start. So I want to be faithful in this. I want to be diligent in this. Like I said, this day has been these past couple of months have been super eventful. And they've been eventful they've been eventful because my wife and I, everything has been moving so fast, like super, super fast. And it's been amazing. God has been giving us mad grace, more grace than I deserve, any of us deserve. And I've been super encouraged. So first we've been looking on buying some land. We looked at like 3 main spots. The first spot we passed up on. Then we looked at another spot, and we were trying to sell to this lady. I think her name was Laura, old lady, and she wanted us to buy this land for $70,000. Now we looked up how much all the land went around her property. Well, not around her property. The place we were looking was her subdivision. She built up that subdivision. So all the land that was sold in her subdivision was about $30,000. So we were going to offer her $50,000, right? That's $20,000 over asking price. I think that covers the cost of inflation, all that type of stuff. And I get it. She probably wanted to make some of that money back, because when we looked at the history of the title of the land, she had been paying taxes on this land for like 20 years. So, she probably wanted to make that back. But listen, you're not gonna get that back. Like, I don't think you're gonna get that back. So we offered her $50,000. She wanted $70,000. She was like, the price is non-negotiable. She wouldn't budge on the price. Now this land has been sent. This is the last plot of land in that whole subdivision. So we were like, listen, this land, obviously for some reason this land isn't selling. We're willing to buy it from you, and we're giving you $20,000 over asking price. Well, she only wanted $70,000. And I'm not finna get into where I stay at, but the place where we're looking at, the place where the land was at, this isn't it isn't an upper class neighborhood. It's not saying it's a lower class neighborhood. It's like middle class, but it's like more working class, stuff like that. So it isn't known for having super high income people there. It's definitely not necessarily poor people. It's like middle class, as opposed to upper middle class and whatnot. So we were like, we told her, we're like, listen, we're offering you $20,000 over asking price. I know you're asking for $70,000, but we're gonna build like a $400,000 home. We want to be able to sell for $500,000. No homes in that area are going for over $500,000, so we would lose money almost immediately on the home. So, and she was like, well, you could do this. You could talk to people at the bank. I know people. Like, I'm like, lady, we not doing none of that. We not finna be talking with your friends. This is business. We're not finna make no good pack and trust you and shake hands and believe your word. We ain't doing none of that. We doing this business. I'm not finna be talking to your friends. You talking about people at the bank. Nah, hecky nah. So, that land fell through. Oh, and another thing, like this Laura, she wanted $70,000, and then she wasn't being completely upfront. She wasn't being completely honest with us up front, because the land, we found it was on wetlands. So we have to do extra work to get the land technically dewatered, which would cost even more money. So we were like, that might cost another $30,000 to get the land dewatered. So she was like, well, it ain't wetlands, ain't this and that. And we were like, listen, we're looking at the paperwork, we're looking at the documentation. From what I can tell, it's looking like it's wetlands. So you gonna have to fall back on that price a little bit. Really, you need to be offering us 30,000. And I get it. You might, I get it. You you want to make your money back for all the money you pay back in taxes. I get that, but that's not how it's gonna work. That's your fault. Cause when we talk to the neighbors, she been wilding with that price. She been talking about like she ain't budging the $70,000, and this is before inflation hit. So we like, lady, you already been wilding. This is the only piece of this is the only piece of land in your development that hasn't been selling, and you not budging. And then you gonna try to do some handshake deal with us. And we're not handshake deal, but I'll talk to my people. You'll be able to sell it for that much. How we gonna sell a home for that much when no home in the area is worth 500,000? So if you guys aren't familiar with selling a home or buying a home, a lot of times what banks do is they evaluate how much other homes in your area are selling that are comparable to your house. So if you got, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2 stories, 2,600 square feet, they're gonna look at all the homes that's similar in that area and see how much they went for, how much they're selling for, and they're gonna base the price off your home based off of that. So that's not. We were like, if we sold the land for that much, it's not gonna praise. If we're not gonna be able to get that much back, we can't build a $500,000 home around a bunch of homes that are only the most expensive home we saw there was 415. So if our home is the estimated home cost is gonna be 450,000, right? And that means that's just how much we would probably be borrowing from the bank. So we borrow 450,000. If you had the land at 70,000, now we got a home. What's 450 plus 70? We got a home that's 520,000, $500,000 home. No one is buying that out there. No one is buying that in the time we were looking at. That's ridiculous. Like we're not gonna get our money back for that. And you talking about people, this and that. Like, dude, this is like, lady, this is business. This ain't no. We not finna be talking to your homies, your old homies. So that deal got shut down. And then we went back and looked at the first land we looked at again, and this was in an unincorporated area, and we found that what unincorporated, again, if you guys aren't familiar with selling a home, unincorporated usually means that that it's not basically doesn't have like things like running water. The electrical may not go. The electrical may not go to that area. The electrical may not go to the area. They may not get running water. They may not get gas. You may have to use well water. You may have to get a separate propane tank to get gas, things like that. They don't get proper sanitation. You might have to pay a separate company to come out because it's not part of the city taxes. They're basically, a lot of times, an unincorporated part of a city is not necessarily owned by the city per se. It's more so owned by the county, and the county handles that stuff. So like if you call the police, the county police come, not the city police a lot of times. Like cities handle the sanitation, you'll be calling the county for that. And a lot of times the county will be like, well, we don't do that. So you got to get our own private company to come out and take care of that. So we were looking at that land, but one, it was in a place that had a bad school district, and my son and my daughters, they're not going to public school. They're going to private school or be homeschooled. But we do care about that because, that brings down the value of the home. Again, like when I was talking about the other home, their school districts weren't horrible, but they weren't the best. And they weren't like in the top tier. So again, that's another reason why homes don't cost that much. Like a lot of times school districts bring up the value of the home. So this land we were looking for was in well, I stay in Indiana, so the place we were looking for had one of the top school districts in Indiana. And then that's the town we were staying in. But the way the lines were drawn, my son would be going to a different school district outside of the town because how they drew the lines. So he would be going to a lower class school district if he ever went to private school. And that, again, that brings down the value of the home. So we were like, okay, we don't like that. I mean, I like the idea. I like the idea of staying unincorporated in the unincorporated area because I like the idea of freedom. I ain't got to deal with a bunch of like my next door neighbor that I stay at now. This dude and called the city on me because my leaves that got too high, all type of stuff. Like I had to deal with that. I don't have to deal with neighbors calling the police on me, not the police, but the city on me to cut my grass and this, that, and the third. Like I work a lot, man. I can't always get to the grass. Not saying I'm lazy. I'm just saying I don't have the time to do everything. Uh, so um, so we were like, all right. So and it was quiet too. Like I like quiet. I like peacefulness. I like to live in an area where they ain't got a bunch of noise. Like right now, we stay right next to an expressway, and the noise level is wild. So, um, but we came down to it like um, we really didn't want to take on that responsibility because we would have to find our own sanitation. We have to get pro here. We have to spend money to get a big propane tank to run gas out of. Then we have to that's say do our own sanitation. Yeah, do our own sanitation. And then after that, we would have to deal with getting electric taken care of and well water. We were like, we don't want to deal with that. And then if the power goes out, because we probably have to pay the power company to come the come and install power there, which means they have to drill and dig a hole, drill a line and run a line halfway across the field, however they do it. And that could get expensive. So the land was only like 25,000, but we were like we might have to put extra $80,000 worth of work into it on top of building the home, and then it's the way the land is sectioned. Yeah, we stay in an upper class town with a good school district, but the school district he be going to was in the adjacent town, which had a lower class school district because of how they drew the lines. So we're like, we just not gonna do that. So so what we so basically we basically was just about to give up. Like we were frustrated. We was like, let's just go back looking at regular houses. But lo and behold, by the grace of my wife, because really the grace of the Lord giving me my wife found this land worth 84,000, and we put a bid on it like on Thursday, and the owner accepted the bid almost right away, like on Friday or Saturday. And this land that we bid was in an area that was more upper middle class. I don't want to say I don't think I'm upper middle class, but I am rich. I think as I said before, I think I'm rich. Now obviously I'm not Warren Buffett rich. I'm not Will Smith rich, or I'm Chris Rock rich, even though I'm rich with a better wife. But you know, that's neither here nor there. Uh, hey man, Will Smith, man. You know what? If you want to stay with Jada, fine. Love her like Christ loved the church, but don't mean she was a good wife. But I commend you if you're staying with her because you want to be faithful and be a faithful husband. You should do that. Christ did that. Anyways, that's a side note. But this whole process, man, my wife she's been on it. She's like, we wouldn't have been in this position, in this positive position without the diligence, the tenacity, the wisdom, the research drivenness of my wife. I really appreciate that. The Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing," and my wife is definitely a good thing. She has made me a better man. She has put me in a better position in life. She helps me take care of my business. She helped me get my credit score down. Uh, she helped me save up money to put money on a house. Like she's done it all. Like if I would not be in this position without the the wisdom, the diligence, the hard work of my wife. And I appreciate that. Like I value that. She definitely makes our family stronger. She makes me stronger as a man. And that's what the scriptures say a wife should do. Your wife is a helpmate. And she has helped me fulfill my mission. Like even me doing this podcast, she's taking my kids. She's she's watching them. She's giving me time to do this. You know, she's freaking amazing. So I really love my wife. I really appreciate my wife. I really love my wife. I care about my wife. I love my wife. I enjoy my wife. She's pleasant. She makes me a better man. Like she does all the good things. And even with this podcast, like I just told her, as I'm trying to, so you know what, I'm gonna get to that part later. But check it out, right? So yeah, so we put money, we go with the offer. We basically offer him asking price. He accepts the offer, right? And then we just wait. Next thing we do, we talking to the bank. The bank is like, listen, in order for you to get a construction loan, uh, and a construction loan is basically where the bank finances the construction costs. So you go to a builder. They say, hey, this house is going to cost $500,000 to build. You go to the bank. They say, okay, bam. They look at the plans. What's the house? How the house is going to be designed? What area is going to be in? They say, all right, bet. We'll finance you the money, the 500,000 you need to build the home. Okay, but they only finance that amount. So, say for instance, you go to build a $500,000 home, and they need an extra 20,000. The bank is not giving you extra 20,000. You got to come up with that money yourself. Um, so anyway, but so he told us in order for us to get the construction loan, we gotta either get renters for our house or we gotta sell our house. So we're like, all right, cool. So we put the offer on the land. We're like, all right, let's get this focused. Let's get focused. Let's get the house in order so we can sell this home and we can get the extra income and we can use the income to help lower the down payment on the home, on a construction loan, lower the down payment on the construction loan. So we do that, and we just in grind mode. So like I said, got the house painted, we throwing stuff away, we giving stuff away, we moving stuff we moved everything over to the kitchen so we can get all the new carpeting in the crib. So we're doing all that. That takes out about, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And so last Tuesday actually, is when we close on we close on the land. What's today's day? So today is April 12th. So a week ago today. Uh, and we close on the land. And like, man, G, it's y'all. I'm telling you, like I was like, I ain't never bought land before, and it was that was incredible in and of itself. That my wife and I, we did this as a unit. Like we feel like a kind of like a power couple. Now, obviously, we ain't on the level of Beyonce or Jay-Z, and I'm not saying that like they got super values that we need to attain to. But as far as on the business tip, they got bread. We making moves as a unit to better build our family, and so we do that, and then um, in the process of doing all that stuff, when we sell the home, we buy the land, and then the same day we buy the land, we get an offer on the crib that we living at now. We get an offer on the crib. We close next month. So the day we close on the land, we get an offer on the crib. Okay. Now I'm like, man, God is doing amazing things, and we get more than asking price. So I'm just like, man, like God is giving us mad grace, and it's been super super encouraging. It's been encouraging that God has given us that much grace to accomplish. I think one of the missions that God has given me. When I say that, so my dream in life, um, like how people have tons of dreams. One of my main dreams, and I would say my primary dream in life, has been to have a family, have my own family, raise my own legacy. That's why I started this podcast. Uh, and this this home, I think my goal is for this home to be a staple or a kind of like a foundation or a building block to the vision that God has given me to building a legacy for my family, to to building up my son and my daughter and the other kids if God blesses me with more, uh to build a legacy and a foundation that gives glory to him, that they can look back to this to this day or this couple and say this is where it started at. This is where Milan and Travis became one, and they built up a legacy that can stand the test of time, that is and that is glorifying to Christ and gives him the utmost glory. So I'm like, man, that is my dream. So my dream has never been like I had some like side dreams. Like sometimes I get these vain dreams, like to, be a rapper or be a famous preacher or be rich or never have to work again or become a excellent economist. But if I break it down and I really look at what God has called me to, God has called me to build a family. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to build a family. I want to build a legacy that not only the world can be blessed from it and other Christians can be blessed from it, but specifically my children can be blessed. And God, most of all, can be exalted and can be glorified. That's what I want. So that's what I want this home to be. And furthermore, I think because I grew up in a home that was I didn't grow up with my mother and my father together. I don't even there was as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, my parents have never been together after I was born. I think maybe for like 2 years, but I'm a baby. I don't remember that stuff. It could have been beneficial, couldn't have been. So I've never had that. And the relationship between my siblings has always been separated because my parents weren't together. I didn't grow up with the three siblings on my dad's side, and I grew up with three siblings on my mom's side because they were never together. And I lived with my grandma, and not only lived with my grandma, but I stayed with my dad. So my mom got custody of her kids, and my dad's ex-wife got custody of their kids. So lo and behold, I'm the one left over. So I kind of grew up as an only child when in fact I got six brothers and sisters who I love, dearly. Well, I do got some brothers one brother in particular who I don't really care for. But he's kind of you know, let me not get into family business. So yeah, so that's what I want my home to be. And it's just been encouraging to see and wonders to see what God has done. But in this process, um, I want to make sure I remain grateful for what God has already given me. Like He's given me, I stay in the crib. I got my own house. I pay a mortgage. It's not paid off yet, but it'll be paid off soon. I mean, if I stayed living here, and God, He would, God seed fit to bless me with this house. And a lot of times I get frustrated with this house. It's an old crib. A lot of stuff needs to be fixed. There's a lot of learning experiences. And sometimes I will wake up in the morning and say, I hate this house. And to some degree, I did because how much work the house had me do, how much work it needed, how much I had to fix it. A lot of times I just hated the crib, but I got to pause and look back and see that God has given me a lot of wisdom with this crib, a lot of wisdom, a lot of things I wouldn't have learned if I didn't have this crib. And it's given me good memories. My daughter was born in this house. The week we moved into the house was the same week my son was born because that guy came early. So there's memories here. We got pictures galore. My son got scarred, broke his leg twice in this house, got scars in this house. This is where I played with him for hours on end, bought him tons and tons of toys, played in the backyard with him, bought a new car with him, paid off all our cars in this house. Like, this house has given us many things. And even though the house has brought much frustration, like tons of frustration, tons of discouragement, God has used this house in His providence to teach me, to discipline me, to bring that rod on my backside, to make me pick a better house. The reason why we're going with a custom building, why we're building a home from the ground up, because I want our new home to be as relational as possible, like even down to the bathrooms. And I'm not obviously our our sons and our daughters aren't using the same. They're not, you know, they don't have like adjacent toilets, like a toilet's one on this side and one on the other. And they're looking at each other. But even how, like, say for instance, sinks, I want the sinks to be one on one side, one on the other. So as they're brushing their teeth, they can kind of be talking to one another. Well, it's not really gonna work like that, but that's how I was talking to the architect. But the way we're designing the sinks, we're making it so they're always in relation with one another. Their rooms are small. Like they're not getting big rooms. They're gonna have enough room for a bed, a desk, and a closet. And most likely a walk-in closet so they can put their dresser in the closet. So that's because we want to encourage our siblings, our children to be in community and to love and to cherish one another. We want them to build meaningful, strong relationships. So there's no TVs allowed in the crib. Like not in the crib. We have a rule of 2, maybe 3 TVs. And they're only going to be able to watch maybe on 2 occasions. So the first TV is going to be in our bedroom. It's going to be glorious. I'm going to get to our bedroom in a second. But the second TV either be downstairs for entertaining, or it might be upstairs, like in the loft space and whatnot, so our kids can watch TV together, or we can watch TV as a family. And the reason why it would be there'd be a third TV, because if one of us has guests over and we're hanging out with our guests, and say my wife has the kids and she wants to watch television, watch a movie with the kids, she can do that, because the kids at this point, they're pretty much not even allowed in our room. So my daughter Selah, she's gonna be 2 after the house is built, so she's gonna be in her own crib. She's gonna be in her own room. My son, he's 5 already, so he already in his own room. So our kids are not even gonna be allowed in our room unless, you know, basically they're not gonna be allowed in the crib. They're not gonna be allowed in our room. In our bedroom, again, is fostered to develop our marriage and to make our marriage strong, meaningful, important, all that good stuff. Uh, and it's really like so so basically our upstairs one side is going to be all our bedroom. So our bedroom is really going to be kind of like a hotel suite with a walk-in bathroom, a huge closet, nice bedroom. We're gonna have a cantilever on the bedroom, so we can like I can read. We can look at the sunset together. We have a big screen TV. Um, so really foster a relationship between my wife and I, where we can love one another. We can be intimate with one another. We can relax with one another. We can just enjoy our time together, and whatnot. And then, like I said, all my kids' rooms are gonna be small, just enough for a bed, a desk, and a dresser. And the dresser is going to be in their walk-in closet. So it's not going to be a huge walk-in closet. It's not by any means, but enough where they can keep their extra junk in. It's not going to be no TVs allowed in that boy. Like no TVs whatsoever. Uh, so yeah. We got probably about 9 months away until the house is uh built. We met with the architect this past Saturday. We're gonna meet with we got to meet again when she gets done with drawing the plans. So, but man, it's been an eventful time. I'm happy to be back on the mic, back getting busy with the podcast stuff, and I'm gonna try to pump out some more episodes for y'all like soon. I'm finna go off to Colorado, Colorado Springs. I ain't getting high. My wife got some family out there. We finna go kick it with them for a little bit over the Easter weekend. I'm gonna try to record a podcast out there, because I don't know if you guys know this about me. Like I love the nature of God. I love being in it. I love looking at it. Like even when we design our house, we're gonna have a ton of windows because I want to be able to see the sunset. And another reason why I appreciate my wife is my wife helps me. She helps. This is a lot of times this is a trait of a woman, but my wife helps me uh relax on functionality sometimes to bring out beauty. So my wife wanted us to have like kind of, well, not just her, but she wanted to have a beautiful house, right? Which I think is important. It's not the only thing that's important, by no means, but having a beautiful house to help kind of show the glory of God, what He's given us, but also to help us see and appreciate what God has given us. And there's a place for functionality, but there's also a place where God wants you to see His glory and be in awe of it, to humble yourself. So my wife has kind of steered me in a direction to help me see the beauty of God's creation, the beauty of what God has done, the beauty of what God has given us, and not just functionality. Like I want functionality. Like I'm all about functional. And also I want to give her the house she wants. Like I want her, like my wife doesn't even, in this house, the house we in now, like we have not been able to clean the shower properly since the last owners. Doesn't take showers barefoot in her own shower. And it irks me. It irks me as a husband that I haven't been able to give my wife, I haven't been able to give her that, like give her that sense of comfortability in her own crib. And I want to give that to her. Not saying we should worship comfort, but I want my wife to feel a place where she can feel safe and not have to worry about not taking a shower, in her sandals in her own crib. Uh, so I want to do those things. I want to give my wife those good. I want her to be able to relax, not in a way that loves the world, but in a way that appreciates the gifts that God has given her on this earth, and how much more when she goes be with the Lord. Well, anyways, when she dies and goes be with Him, like you know, she knows that heaven is going to be so much greater and so much cleaner, so much more wonderful. Uh, um, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, my wife helped me see the beauty. So she wants a beautiful house, like not overboard. Will put us in debt, like crazy debt, but a house that can help show the goodness God has given us. Um, so when I say that, I mean like even she wanted like a lot of like I really want a lot of windows, I want to be able to see the sunset. So when the sunset right when the sunset comes, because where our home is going to be positioned, we're going to be able to see the sunset uh, from where our room is positioned and how our bed is going to be. So it's like I want to be able to lay in the bed with my wife and see the sunset and enjoy the beauty of God's creation, the majesty of that, and be in awe of that. Like this is the God that has humbled Himself to save us, to redeem us, and who gives us good gifts. And good gifts that are way more better than the house He's going to give us now. Uh, and better than anything that we could ever possibly imagine or think. So, uh, I think I'm done. I got to get to bed. I got to go to work in the morning tomorrow. Uh, it's been good, man. It's been good. For you guys who don't know, I finally got me a better camera, and I'm recording on the camera now. So if you want to watch this on YouTube, this is going to be up at the Blackest Man Podcast YouTube channel. So just type in the Blackest Man Podcast, and you'll be able to see my uh, uh, handsome or ugly face. I'm probably ugly, but my wife loves me, so that's all that matters. And Jesus loves me. And my kids love me, so So, anyways, so if you want to watch this, YouTube, the Blackest Man Podcast. If you want to listen, you can get anywhere podcasts are are available. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, Cast app, Overcast app, all them spots. Go ahead and get it. So, and if you like me running my mouth, this is something new. Go ahead and right, uh, right there, hit that subscribe button. All right. Okay, y'all. This is the Blackest Man podcast, man. Appreciate my listeners. Appreciate y'all. My 12 downloads uh before the ball headed episode of my 88 downloads total. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all listening to me. I hope you can be blessed by this. Hope you can be encouraged by this. Hope it help you see the glory of the Lord by this. I hope this podcast will bring you closer to your families. Hope it encourage you to love your wife, to love your son, to love your daughters, to love your nieces, aunties, uncles, whatever, so that you can, you know, bring glory to the Lord in everything you do. All right, man. You know what it is. Stay black.